Okay. Let's take a moment to close our eyes and to focus our thoughts, to observe our breath going in and out, in and out, in and out. We feel the peace and the calm that comes from spirit as we concentrate our thoughts on the good things, ignoring the negative, concentrating on what's positive. Well, again, good morning. Taking you on a little trip to San Francisco, 2013. I had this weird idea of becoming a San Francisco Police Department officer. What made it weird is because I never thought of it before, and I learned what the salary was, so I let my imagination work a little harder, and I tried out for the academy. So I was in San Francisco doing all the tests, the psychological test, and the cognitive tests, and the physical tests. And as part of my preparation for the physical tests, I did a lot of working out, I did a lot of running to get ready for the test. Unfortunately, I didn't pass the physical test. But while I was working out, while I was running, I used to go to Golden Gate Park, and I don't know if you know of the track that's on the east end of the park. I used to go to that track and run almost every day. But something weird was happening, and I didn't know exactly what it was at the time. I felt like my left foot was dragging. I felt like I was wearing a swim fin on one foot and a shoe on another. So it was kind of... So I thought it was just me being out of shape. And I didn't think much of it. But I did get my legs measured when I got back to see if one leg was shorter than the other. No. So a year later, I noticed that there was a tremor in my left hand, especially if I was nervous, like today, but not too bad, or if I was in a hurry. So I consulted with a neurologist, and the neurologist said, "I'm sorry, you have Parkinson's disease." I was 45 at the time. Not 75, not 85, I was 45. So it was quite a blow, but I managed to continue. And about 2024, my neurologist, another neurologist said, "Well, your medications are not working like they used to, so we need to consider deep brain stimulation." And what that involves is drilling holes in my head and putting electrodes into the part of the brain that doesn't produce something called dopamine, which governs my motor responses. So having 2 holes drilled in my head wasn't an exciting prospect. I wasn't looking forward to it, but at the same time, I knew it was going to be okay. I knew that it was going to be a game changer. I knew it was going to exceed my expectations, and it has. So I'm standing here straight. I'm trembling a little bit because I'm a little nervous, but I'm not trembling nearly like I did a year ago. Thank you. And I guess I just wanted to say that God works, Spirit, God, love, works in many different ways, even through technology. Spirit gave us the know-how to do deep brain stimulation and the drugs that control Parkinson's, and there's still a long way to go, but it's going to be all right. So if you're facing something that's big, a diagnosis or a financial issue or a personal issue, it's going to be all right. I know. So it is.
I was so moved I couldn't move. Came up with a meme yesterday. We're starting at the destination. It's kind of a Zen koan, really. Because there's always this feeling that we're going somewhere. But we always end up where we started. From dust to dust. So, starting a destination. So when I heard the theme was about the inner guidance, thought about that place inside. That's still. What do they call it? The still small voice or something like that? Opened up my heart, opened up my mind, opened up my pocketbook from time to time. I ask a lot of questions and I've read so many books. Going within is the best place to look. Softly, stillness speaks. Softly, stillness teaches me. Running on the beach, walking down the road, breathing deep to ease the load. Tried most everything, get back in the flow. Best thing is to stop, let go. Softly, stillness speaks. Softly, stillness teaches me. Softly, stillness speaks. Softly, stillness teaches me. Thank you.
Thank you, Bodhi. And thank you, Sean, for your heartfelt sharing. I have seen the difference. I know you were so frustrated for a while with how it was going, and yet you kept your faith. And I admire that about you, your courage to go through that. And it is working. You were holding your hand out like this. It was... Yeah. So he's got a video. He's trying to put together. So we'll be glad to watch it when you get that together. So this week we're talking about the inner lie detector. First of all, I'd like to mention, I forgot about this earlier, we just honor the life and times of Jesse Jackson, an incredible, charismatic civil rights leader. And here in this Black History Month, we especially honor that work he's done advocating for Black Americans. And yet always compassionately, always consideration, always listening more than most politicians might do. And so we just bless his life. I love the picture in the your upper left-hand corner of him with Dr. King there. And Dr. King, you can't quite see the picture, but Dr. King is pointing. And that's what Jesse Jackson, I think, always did, was follow that point that Dr. King gave to him. He was really about the same age as Dr. King, but Dr. King's life was taken away at such a young age that he continued to follow that lead. So we're grateful for Jesse Jackson. Just hold him in honor and know that his next expression will be glorious and lovely. So we're talking about the inner lie detector today. What's interesting about that, when I started thinking about this topic, is I had this, you know how the things you see in movies and TVs kind of stick in your brain? So I know the current polygraphs are very different, but I still think of, when I think of a polygraph test, is that little arm. You know, that arm that when somebody lies, it shoots across the paper and it makes the mark on there, and the text going, aha, I gotcha. And I think about that, what we want to develop in ourselves is an inner lie detector. And keep from maybe those extreme, movement of the arm, like if you can imagine that from happening, but being more on an even keel. Now, finding that inner truth, that inner lie detector when I'm misaligned has not been easy for me. I don't think it's easy for anybody. But I know in my younger days, I spent quite a few times in a relationship that wasn't quite aligned with my highest and best. And what's interesting, it wasn't a lot highest and best for them either. In jobs, in situations, in just my beingness, but I didn't know how to right the ship, so to speak. And what I found through my learning is developing that within me that is like that inner lie detector that kind of calls BS on myself. Now I call it BS as an acronym for belief systems. To notice those belief systems that no longer work. But I think we need to do that. We need to define that and be willing to look deeper into ourselves to do that. And for me, this detection, this inner guidance, is not necessarily an arm that swings back and forth, but it's I think of the peace within me that I have found, and the peace that I experience in other people too, is like a river or an ocean that has the deep currents at the depth of the river, depths of the ocean, where things are calm and peaceful. And it's there we can find when things are not in the flow, not that they're right or wrong, but it's kind of the Buddhist view of right thinking, right being, right concentration. There's not a wrong, but there is a right. There's a deeper connection that flows through us that we can allow. Now, it doesn't mean that I am in that flow all the time. There are times that we can use, ideally, we're prayed up, we're meditated up, and we got in the world and we respond to the world. The arms are not moving back and forth rapidly, right? That we're just in this calm, we're observing, we're listening, we're conscious and mindful, but there are times that doesn't happen. And so there's two ways you can become aware of things, and one is to become aware within. The other is to be aware when we react. And notice we're not in alignment. And I always say the second response is better than, maybe it wasn't as healthy or affirming as the first response could have been, But the second response can become mindful, can become aware, and you can be clear on what's happening within you, to look within you for what that is. I love Emerson, Ralph Waldo Emerson. I think he is just an extraordinary person, and his work. He says it's easy in the world to live after the world's opinions. I would agree with that, to be out in the world, and it's also easy in solitude to live after our own. I also agree with that when we're in the quiet. But here's the trick. He said, but the great person is the one who is in the midst of the crowd, keeps with perfect sweetness the independence of solitude. So we know our own inner self so well, or we forget and remind ourselves of what that inner self is. Either way works. And we have the best of both worlds, because we can be in the world being and doing what we are about, our purpose to do. And we can have that independence of solitude, knowing what is ours, what is true for us. Not letting that pendulum swing, that arm of the polygraph swing too much. It'll swing a little bit as the day comes. Disappointments come, and celebrations and happiness comes also. We know that is the nature of this life that we live, and the way that we are true to ourself. Now, sometimes that means something else about being authentic, but it's also about being true to ourselves within, to know what the truth is and what is the highest and best. And I wonder about you. Have you ever been in situations in your life where you were hesitant to make changes? Maybe even you knew it wasn't quite the right situation, but you were hesitant to make those changes. Or perhaps even before that, you were oblivious that you needed to make changes. I know that sometimes I would shift things in my life, and a close friend would go, well, I'm glad you finally saw that. Wait a minute, why didn't you say something before? I didn't. I tried to. You weren't listening. Oh. And what I know is I had to do it myself anyway. Not that I mean, I listened to people, but I'm saying I needed to find that inner way, that inner lie detector, to call myself when I wasn't telling myself the truth, when I was hiding out from that truth. And that's what I know to be that these beliefs we have can literally hold us back like an anchor in this picture. And if we let go of these outdated, limiting beliefs, we can become freer than we are. Because it allows us to make choices that not only are emotionally right for us, but also leaving room for Spirit to come through to guide us. Because sometimes we don't know the way. We know this doesn't work. That's the easy thing to find. But how do we know what will work? Well, I think sometimes we have to depend on Spirit for that. Because if we had known the way to go, we would have chosen that. If it was clear, we would have done that. But instead, there's always a way. Sean's perfect example of that. He didn't know the way. The doctor had an idea, and he knew that was the right way. Something inside of him resonated with him that was the way to go. And it worked out perfectly. Perfectly. And we know this continues to open us up in a greater way to allow Spirit to come through us. But if we're locked into limiting beliefs, and this is the way it is, and this is the way it has to be, then we're not leaving room for Spirit. There's no room for it to come through us to guide us towards what is the highest and best. So at times, I feel like I'm having a conversation with myself, my side that wants to be comfortable and not make anything change at all, and go, this is just not working out. Not that we get rid of that small self, but they become a consultant. They become one opinion, one idea. Because sometimes our fear tells us something that's important for us to know. Most of the time not, though. Most of the time it's just telling us we don't want to risk anything. We don't want to look bad. We could fail. We don't want to do that. Well, that's not working out for me. That side of me. We need to find a way that I'm free to make these decisions. And you can let me know if you're concerned about it, and I'll listen, and I'll make decisions based on what is the highest and best, which is my higher self within me. Think of it as Ralph Waldo Emerson. He was a transcendentalist, which means a transcendentalist would metaphorically rise above the conditions they were in, the opinions of others, and see things objectively, to be able to develop a watcher or listener within us that can see things without getting caught in the world down here and make decisions. You're not detached, but you're less attached to the outcomes of things, because that opens up. Spirit can create through us and allow through us. That's the only way to do it. If we're closed off, there's no room for Spirit. Think of it we've had some cold and rainy days lately, haven't we? Yeah, not what we're used to. I know, I have a friend that lives in Detroit. He says, oh, you you have nothing. Okay. I know, in the son of Rhode Island, and, so okay. But still, for us, when the cold comes, we bundle up, we close in ourselves, which is what we do in weather. It's metaphorical, I'm talking here. But in our lives, we don't want to be closed up because of fear. We want to be able to open up. Today is such a day that we can open up. And really, even when it's rainy and cold, we can open up. We can be present with what is, mindful of what's going on in ourself. We've been talking about these revolutionary agreements, 12 revolutionary agreements, and we're on number 3 in the truth area here. And it's, I agree to look within when I react. So as I mentioned, ideally, we're present enough and we don't react to things, we respond to things. But there are times, and I'll say I'm one of those people too. I'm not you're not alone in this. We react. And when we react, instead of pointing the finger at somebody, which is generally what we're doing when we're reacting. When you point a finger at somebody, there's 3 fingers pointing back at you. Because usually when we're upset by something, it's something inside of us that has triggered something, activated something within us that we don't want to look at. They may be an exaggerated part of that, but it's a blessing to get that information, that mirror back to us, that we recognize there's a part of us that is the same way or similar, and that we haven't allowed ourselves to acknowledge that, to tell ourselves the truth about that. So it's a blessing to. So I don't think people that are close to me would say it's a blessing when I react to something, but for me it's a blessing because I can get mirrored back to me what I'm missing. And it's a value to me when I do that. So when we look within, when we react, we find what is deeper within us. So the simple affirmation, the simple agreement we can make is, when I react, I look within. And not only is there maybe emotional trauma, emotional incompleteness we might have, but also within, even, sometimes I'll say in my prayers, beliefs known or unknown don't limit me. I know Spirit through me reveals what I need to know. So sometimes our beliefs are unknown. We don't have to exactly know what the belief is. We can pretty much assume it's certain things about not feeling lovable, not believing in our oneness of all life, our own divinity, not feeling powerful or able to change things, fear, things like that. But maybe we don't know exactly. That's okay. we can just look within and allow Spirit to reveal in us the path forward. Like, this isn't working, Spirit. What you got? You know, just open up. Whether you look up, you look within, just open up. Like how ask questions like, how would love look in this situation? Because I'm not feeling love in this situation. So how can I bring love and peace into this situation? How can I feel peaceful? How can I have an open heart for this person and still feel safe? Still feel connected? And that's how we can open up in this way and just know this truth. And true independent thinking isn't just about having our own beliefs. It's remembering and being willing to revise them when they are limiting, when we come across them. So it opens us up in this deeper way. One of my favorite ways to look within is to seek to respond mindfully. Seek it, like it doesn't always happen, but seek to respond mindfully. And one of the best examples of this is Brené Brown. I just adore Brené Brown, and many of you I know do too. But she has a book called Rising Strong. It's not one of her more prevalent books. If you haven't read it, I really recommend it. And in it, she talks about a process of mindfulness called reckoning, rumble, and revolution. And reckoning is recognizing that what's going on is not working, or we've reacted, or recognizing something deeper within us that is seeking to be understood, or there's conflict, or there's some disagreements, either within myself or with others. And then allow the rumble. And the rumble is just a curiosity, just a questioning. Like, how can this work better? What's a higher way for me to express myself? If you look at this chart, reckoning, our recognition, isn't anything to feel bad about. Just like, oh, okay, it didn't happen this time. And it's a call to go within. It's a call to adventure, curiosity. Now, we can go up to the upper part in confrontation, and it still comes back down to revolution. We can get depressed and down, beating ourselves up, feeling bad about ourselves because the way we reacted or we hurt somebody. And sometimes that does need to be felt. I'm not saying you ignore that when you've hurt somebody or you feel hurt. You still want to feel it because feeling is healing. But then you move towards this curiosity about, well, how can I respond? And that's the revolutionary way. The same agreements Brené Brown's talking about revolution is the same ones that the author of the 12 agreements is talking about. Revolutionary agreements that we're making. And this one is, when I react, I look within. Be willing to do that. And she tells a story about, she, obviously, if you know anything about Brené Brown's life, she's pretty busy. She's a professor. She's an author. She does lectures on the lecture circuit. And her husband is a pediatrician. So he's a pretty busy person also. So her story was she's at her house doing some work out in the common areas, and she hears him as he opens the fridge. Oh, there's nothing to eat. And the story she was telling herself is, and she said she reacted out loud, oh, so you're blaming me for not having any food and I'm doing the best I can, okay? And he goes, oh, wait a minute. I was just saying that. I wasn't blaming anybody. The truth is I go to the store often. I was going to go to the store yesterday and I just didn't have time to do it. And so I was just looking in the fridge going, there's just the factual statement, there's nothing to eat. She goes, oh. And they talked about that. They talked about conversing more, catching up with each other, being real with each other. But that whole thing that she talks about a lot is the story I tell myself. I think that's one that we need to acknowledge. one thing we need to do. A couple weeks ago, I was meeting with the board, and they asked if we could do a long-term calendar of classes and events so we kind of know what's going on ahead. And the story I started telling myself is, oh, they don't trust me. They think I'm not doing this right. When Brene Brown talks about the basic three things that we get dialed up about is our worthiness, our divinity, or our powerlessness. But I just started to, that they want to control me. And then I go, wait, stop the bus. Right? Stop the bus. Because I was going to town. I was going way out there. Turning around, and what's true? What's true is that they would just like to know what's going on. That's all they want to know. Right? And the truth is, as I began to create this calendar, I felt the freedom. Because I'm not planning things at the last minute. I'm not making up stuff by myself. I'm getting cohorts and other people to work with me on things, and we are doing things together. Gosh, that sounds like a pretty good idea. But we just make stuff up. The stories we tell ourselves. And I love that. She talks about that, and I don't know about you, but I'm a pretty good storyteller. Literally. So we just continue to open up, and the importance of the second thing I want to talk about today about looking within is we observe, listen, and wait. Observe, listen, and wait. It's like Viktor Frankl talked about that between the stimulus and the response changes everything if we wait. Television broadcasting, I don't know if you know this, but they have a 7-second delay. And that 7-second delay is about if anything is said inappropriately or done inappropriately, they can quickly push the edit button. It just blanks either the sound or the visual, and it just goes blank. And I'm sure, I don't know for a fact, but I can't imagine them not. During the Super Bowl halftime music show when Bad Bunny was up there, some of Bad Bunny's lyrics are R-rated. So I'm sure that they had AI and a crew of people who spoke Spanish ready to push the edit button, the mute button, if anything was said that was inappropriate. It wasn't. I couldn't tell. I don't speak Spanish well enough to figure that out. Maybe Martha could have figured that out, but I couldn't. But what if we had that, even a 2 or 3 second rule, before we say something? Just consider what we're saying. Consider that idea. I've heard that we are in a time of outrage fatigue. Outrage fatigue, where we are quick to react to things. Quick to say, oh, I can't believe he's saying that. I can't believe they're doing that. But there's so many stimulus right now, we are on overload and don't feel like we can do anything about it or don't know what to do. So we're in this constant emotional stimulus that's affecting our adrenaline. But then they say about trauma is everybody has traumatic situations. The people that don't have long-lasting effects are the people that were able to help themselves or help others. Like floods and fires, the people that were able to help other people through that didn't have as much trauma. But the people that felt were helpless in the situation, it took longer for them to recover from the trauma. So the same is true for us. And if we stay on this even keel and seek guidance about what we can do, little things, kindness signs, doing like the MLK projects, the community service that we did, the Black History Month, just different things we're doing that are maybe little things, but they do change things in that way. That we don't want to be always reacting, always looking for what's wrong. right? Let's look for what we can do to shift things in our own psyche and in the way we're opening up in new ways. I talked about the Buddhist, about the Eightfold Path a little bit, and they talk about right action, right thought, not meaning right or wrong, but meaning it's in harmony with this flow, the Tao, if you want to call it that. There's a great teaching story that I've always loved hearing. There are two Buddhist monks, a novice and an elder, and they're walking through the forest, and they have both taken on a promise of celibacy. And so much that they don't even, they have agreed not to even talk to women. Because they don't want to be, they don't want to have it enter in their mind any kind of temptation, because they believe celibate is the spiritual path. Now, everybody has their own path. But they're walking through this forest, and they come to a pretty good sized river with a strong current. And beside the river is a young woman crying. And the elder monk goes to her and says, can I help you? She goes, I need to cross the river to see my family, and I'm scared to cross the river. And he said, can I carry you across? And she said, yes. So he picked her up and walked across the slippery rocks carefully and got her to the other side and set her down. She went on her way, and the two monks continued to walk on their way. About an hour into the walk, the novice said, I got to ask you, it's just been bothering me since we left the river. I thought you had, and I had made this vow of celibacy, and we're not supposed to touch or talk to women. And the elder monk goes, I am of service. And while I carried the woman across the river and set her down, you're still carrying her. So it's the burdens we carry ourselves that we're not willing to let go of. It's some sort of martyrdom or something that we think we can do. And it allows us to be aware when we're still holding on to things. So in this observing and listening and waiting, I don't know if you have been following the Olympics. But Alyssa Liu is just something, isn't she? How many people have been watching her? I mean, her enthusiasm and joy and passion are inspirational. I mean, I can't take my eyes off of her when she's on television. And I don't know if you heard her whole story, but she started performing when she was just 5 years old. And at 10 was competing, and 13 was won the junior nationals and was on her way, but she wasn't happy. Her father was one of those sports parents that just kept pushing and pushing and pushing her, and she felt the pressure of the family and the pressure of her culture and although she looks happy in this picture, when the pandemic came in 2020 and all the rinks closed down, she secretly wished they would never open again. She went to the 22 Olympics in Beijing, and that was a lot of pressure for her because her father was a Chinese American. And she competed, but finished, I think, 6th or 7th. And part of that, she just didn't feel, she under-rotated some of her things, and she felt too much pressure there. And she was 16 then and did something surprising. She retired from figure skating. Completely. Left it. Because she said she had lost herself. The only thing she knew was figure skating, and she didn't even know who she was. So she got her driver's license. She ended up going to college at UCLA. And she happened to be with friends on a skiing trip, and she remembered how much she loved ice. And so she just went casually to a rink and not doing anything for 2.5 years, and she could do a double spin. And she found her passion and her love. And that's what you see now, is this passion she has, this love she has for just and ease and carefree and not caring whether she wins a medal or not. She's just there to be an artist, to show who she is, and people love her for it. People have really responded to her in so many ways, and just she's grateful to be able to share who she is and genuine, being true to herself in all ways. And I think that's look at her. She doesn't know if she's won a medal or not. Guess what? There are other skaters to go. She's just happy to be sharing with people. Yeah, so sweet, so sweet. And the final thing to think about is to invite and affirm what we seek. To actively know that which we seek, we can claim. And we affirm it, and we are attracting it to us. And not only that which we seek is also seeking us once we claim it. There's spiritual laws of vacuum and spiritual law of attraction. And both of those are interesting, particularly vacuum. So you can release a belief, you can release ways that don't work with you. But if you don't claim something new, it's going to come back. And the attraction is when we affirm it, that which we are seeking, not only does it open up in our lives, but it is seeking, the universe is providing opportunities for us to claim that, to be that. Just to ask what is the highest and what is the best in this situation. To seek love and peace and a depth of understanding, a depth of ideas. And as a community, we can begin to see ourselves as a catalyst, individually and as a community. Change agents. Instead of asking what's wrong or looking for what's wrong, look for opportunities to be in the flow, to shift things, conversations, to deeply listen, deeply watch, deeply be aware. We're not in a hurry. Alyssa Liu, she took 2 years off to find herself. There's no rush of things to be. I heard another Buddhist story of a monk who came in to meditate because he wanted to reach enlightenment, so he would meditate 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and he was frustrated because he wasn't finding that enlightenment. He saw it. And he went to his master teacher and said, I'm doing all I can. How come I have not achieved it? And his master said, well, you must realize that where you sit, you're moving forward. And maybe you need to sit in peace and calm and find space, because that which you seek may be behind you, and you need to allow it to catch up with you. So we need to be in the moment and present, and not concerned about what you think should be or what ought to be, and be present with what is right here. Ernest Holmes says that the pent-up energy of life and the possibility of further human evolution works through our imagination and will. The time is now. The planet is where we are. We must relight the torch of our imagination by fire caught from heaven. We must remain faithful to this vision for realization of the presence of God, and that's the secret power of our work. Even though it doesn't have to be secret. We can sing it loud and clear and be like Alyssa. Just be clear on who we are and be out in the world. And allow ourselves to know the deeper truths. Let us go to prayer. I'm just so grateful for this presence that is within each of us. The presence is all around us that supports us when we know that which we are seeking. Or we are seeking something we do not know yet. I know Spirit is moving through us right now that is revealing in us the highest and best way. The true way. The connected way. I know that is the nature of Spirit, to move in and through us as we just create the space for Spirit to come through us. And for this, I'm so grateful. And so it is.
When darkness comes over you and the struggle has blocked your view, and all your people are far away, and your life feels like a masquerade, you got to follow. You got to follow the call. You got to follow. You got to follow the call. Well, every answer is usually hidden inside a question, often forbidden. So seek direction from the wind. Trust your nature, oh, and look within. You got to follow. You got to follow the call. You got to follow. You got to follow the call. You've got to follow. Follow the call. You've got to follow. Follow the call. You've got to follow. Got to follow the call. Got to follow. Follow the call. So when darkness comes over you, the struggle has blocked your view, seek direction from the wind. Trust your nature and look within. You got to follow. Got to follow the call. You've got to follow. Follow the call. You got to follow. Follow the call. Exactly. He was right on cue. We rehearsed that for hours this morning. we were actually.
Hey, I just want to let you know something about Bodie. He has a new record out. I'm not talking about, watch this. Real vinyl. How about that? I don't know if you know that. There's a new people that are. It is a thing now. Now, wait, you ready for this? Ready for this? Oh. But I don't know if you know, there are aficionados that really love vinyl again. So I'm not one of those, but I don't have a record player anymore. And the record player. Oh.
They cost more than they used to.
I bet. I bet. Well, there's 2 stores in town that sell old records too, which for our small town, it's a,
Dunkin' Mills, I was out there yesterday. $45 for a Bob Dylan record.
yeah. That's great. That's great. For those online, Bodie was just sharing that this record is out that you can get. I can pick it up online or pick it up.
You can order for me right now. It was
Okay.
2 days, so still figuring it out.
So he's still figuring it out. So thanks for being a part of that. So.
What was that?
Will it be on a CD?
No.
No. But you can find it on
Online right now, streaming.
Right. You can get it on.
Can't make any money with CDs.
Right. Now, funny, but you can with records. Who knows? So anyway, this is the time in our service when we invite you to be part of the law of circulation. We know that which you give and that which we receive brings in a flow in your life. So we appreciate you being a part of that. If our ushers could come forward, please. We appreciate all that you do to support our center. Some people are giving online, and that is great, different ways to give. We so appreciate your support of our vision and mission. So whether you've given in the past, or you're planning to give today or in the future, just take your hand and put it over your heart and read with me this affirmation. Divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, and all that I circulate, and so it is.
God is the source of who I am. God is the dream of what I do. And if it's God I'm a talking to, I give myself to be used by you. God is the source of who I am. God is the dream of what I do. And if it's God I'm a talking to, I give myself to be used by you. God is the source of who I am. God is the dream of what I do. And if it's God I'm talking to, I give myself to be used. I give myself to be used. I give myself to be used by, are you ready? You. Yeah. Use me, God.
So the Spanish-speaking ministry is here today. Often they're only online, but they're here today in person. They'll have a service here at 12:30. You're welcome to come to. And also Martha, one of the leaders of our Spanish-speaking ministry, would like to invite you to something.
Yes, after the service in Spanish, we're going to have a get-together just to share love and compassion and food. We're going to have a lot of people bringing food, and oh boy, it's going to be good. So I invite music, and we're going to have some games for adults and everything. So feel free to come and enjoy.
Yeah.
Okay?
Whether you come to the service or not, come back at 1:30 probably. Are you going to have an hour service? Yeah, 1:30. So please come back for that. So we'd like to also honor anybody who might be here for the first time today. We have a pamphlet for you, so if you raise your hand, we'll be glad to give you one of those pamphlets to just let you know more about us. So if you raise your hand. You're busy today, Joanna. So we have an affirmation today, so we raise our hands to our new people. Please know that we're in the courtyard for coffee and snacks afterwards. Please join us for that. So we say, we bless you today, knowing that the peace and happiness is also seeking you. We honor your inner radiance as you let your light shine in the world. We are grateful for your presence in our community, and so it is. Doesn't sound like we have any youth today, but I will invite our practitioners to come forward. They are here for prayer after the service. If you so want a prayer, just stay in your seat and we'll be glad to be able to pray with you at that time. I guess Eamon could come up. If we have one person, one little one here, we can bless Eamon. The star of the show. He's doing auditioning. Yeah. He may be taking your place pretty soon if you're not careful.
I'm out of here.
So we raise our hands for Amen and we say, we love you, we care about you, and we're here for you. And so it is. Let's all stand for the community affirmation.
Hey, Alyssa retired at 16, you know.
There you go. Repeat after me. Something wonderful is happening through me right now.
Something wonderful is happening through me right now.
I'm led by Spirit.
I'm led by Spirit.
I'm guided by wisdom.
I'm guided by wisdom.
I'm protected by love.
I'm protected by love.
I am here to be a blessing.
I'm here to be a blessing.
I am so grateful.
So grateful.
And so it is.
So it is.
And now our closing song.
I am a prayer for peace. Wherever I go, peace goes with me. I feel peace inside, and every breath, peace abides. And I know the joy of peace. I choose fear to release every moment. Love wakes up, peace is every step. Peace is every step. And peace is every step. Woo!
As we go forth, I know peace is in every step of your life.